Welcome to the city of I'm just chilling out here in this necromantic rooftop bar area here while I ponder my first impressions on necromancy. My thoughts before the skills release was it was just going to be a load of foolish arm waving and silly incantations, and there is a bit of that involved. But most of what I discovered day one was it was running over a bridge and running over a bridge and realising you'd forgot something and running over a bridge again. When I first explored after I'd finished the tutorial, I got some B-roll because, you know, I was planning on making videos, so you want to get some nice shots that will come in useful later. And I thought, oh yeah, this bridge looks really cool. Let's get a shot of me walking over it all slow and moody. Little did I realise that I would spend most of the day running over that bridge and running over that bridge again and then doing something else and running over that bridge again and then teleporting to Lodestone and running over that bridge again. Yeah, it really started to do my head in. It started to do my clan's head in. They were like, no, just give up on the bridge, man. We've heard enough about the bridge. But seriously, it was run over the bridge. And again. And again. And again. Yeah, that damn bridge got to me. I did find out on day 2, where I was about level 37 I think, that if I'd done the quest at level 24, where you learn how to craft runes, the new runes for necromancy, you actually unlock a teleport directly to the ritual site. So there's no need to run over the bridge, over and over and over and over. You can just teleport there every time you forget something. But I still don't see why we can't have a bank chest at the ritual site. I mean, can't we at least have some sort of a locker where we can store inks and store candles and stuff? Yeah, this is a really quick first impressions. Next week I'll get more in depth. I've just got to the point, I've just reached level 60 today, where I'm just starting to understand necromancy. I get the rituals, they're better after level 60. I would focus on combat pre-level 60 if I was you, unless, you know, you need to upgrade gear and stuff. And then do the rituals once you hit level 60, because you get so much more of the souls for each ritual. It's just. So yeah, I had a bit of a studio goof. I bought a new MIDI controller, plugged it in, and it changed the drive letter of my SSD card that I make my videos on. So all my videos got unlinked. When I tried relinking them, like an idiot, I deleted the project folder and lost everything apart from what you've seen of what was left of this video. In reality, that's a good thing, I think, because my opinion on necromancy was changing on a daily basis while I trained it. Now that I've maxed both accounts, I think I've got a good feeling of necromancy and what I like and what I don't like about it, and hopefully I can share that with you now. Finally. So, everything I think about necromancy in one concise video. What fun. Anyway, what do I think? Well, I love it mostly. It's very easy to get the hang of, and it takes the best bit out of all the other combat styles. You've got versions of Greco, Animate Dead, Hurricane, etc. And it reduced my dependency on using Revolution. Before, I used to use 5 or 6 basics in Revolution and then do the thresholds and ultimates manually. But now, even with range and with other styles, I'm just using 2 or 3 basics in there just to keep me going in case I forget to use an ability. But I'm much closer to being full manual now. And it also encouraged people to try bosses and encounters that they never thought they would try, including myself. There were a lot of bosses that I thought, nah, there's no way I'm going to do that on this iron, and I've done it. So brilliant. So, why did I get so obsessed with that damn bridge? I blame the tutorial. It's been designed completely arse-about-face. It's a new combat style, but the tutorial is a ritual. Could you imagine if you're, a new player and you're introduced to melee was, here, do a Sudoku puzzle, this is what melee is all about. It's just crazy. Why not introduce it through some mysterious NPC giving you tier 1 weapons in some shady place? Let's say like Lummy Graveyard, where you finish the Blood Pack, that quest that gives you tier 1 melee, range and mage weapons. In the graveyard, where all the dead bodies are. Add a few candles, it could be really necromantic. Let the players get a feel for the combat first, then introduce rituals. Let them go to like level 10 or level 20, get a feel for necromancy, see if they like it. Then they can come back, learn the ritual. You can do your little joke about, candles make it more necromantic and all that. That would have a better feel. Imagine a new player coming in going, I've heard they've got this combat style, necromancy, and your introduction is, here, it's a ritual. Nuts. Yeah, I've got a problem with rituals. Jagex stated they wanted Necromancy to make PVM more accessible, and it certainly did, not just for the reasons already stated, but it completely tanked the economy. I mean, my mate actually picked up a Bow of the Last Guardians for 1.2 billion. Now that is what I call accessible. Obviously prices have bounced back up now, but there was a really good crash. I nearly forgot this bit, but maybe I was too traumatised. Please remove the dungeoneering requirement from the progression of Necromancy. I play on 2 maxed accounts, and I nearly rage quit Necromancy on my iron when I had to do that saga where you have to get the 2 probes in the right place with that beep 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 stuff. You say Necromancy is meant to attract new and lapsed players? Well, seriously, if you want to attract new players, don't make them do dungeoneering. That is cruel and unusual. Another thing I almost forgot, I think they missed a trick with the inks. Pre-release we were told all the demonic ashes would be needed for Necromancy, but actually the only ashes that were needed were wood ashes. Not only would making the inks from demonic ashes be, more fitting lore-wise, but it'd be pretty badass, wouldn't it, making inks from demonic ashes. But also, if you're using impious ashes and cursed ashes and stuff like that, all the inks would have been different colours, so that would have really made the glyphs stand out when you're doing the rituals. I really like the paths for unlocking gear. Having the tank and the power armour tasks, and then being separate and having different bosses in both sides, so you've got easier bosses in the tank armour, harder bosses in the power armour. I think that's really good. I don't think people should be able to carry though. I think it's wrong for someone to unlock something they can get a mate to come across with a dart, bang it in the boss, and they get the unlock that easily. I don't like that, or I must admit I have helped a few friends that way. Therefore, I think that Ambi, the ambassador, is a step too far for the average player. So I would say make players solo it, but rather than making it ambassador, make it Taraket. I think that's perfectly doable for an average player who's already got the tier 90 weapons from the tank side to kill Taraket, and he's a necromancer. It makes sense. Lore-wise, it makes sense. Taraket would quite possibly drop an item you would need to upgrade your gear. I just don't think it should be ambassador. Speaking about upgrading gear, Jagex stated they wanted a steady progression so we could learn the things we unlocked before unlocking more. So how come then, when I trained my main, principally through combat, every time I unlocked a new tier of gear, by the time I finished creating it, I was nearly at the next tier. I have faith they will get it right eventually, or at least I hope so. Or I've wasted my time getting a scourge and that ugly helmet and continuing to work on my offhand ascension crossbow. Still haven't got a decent mod yet, all the damn book of jazz, but I'm hopeful that all the styles will be equally as good in the future. My biggest problem, however, on release was, quite frankly, Necromancy is OP. Once my iron got its hands on tier 70 plus weapons, I was setting new PVM records everywhere I went without even really trying. I'm glad to see that mods Ryan and Sponge, and I'm sure quite a few others, are attempting to deal with this with the combat beta, and from what I've seen it's going really well. They're doing really well with all the best in slot weapons and all that sort of stuff. I just hope after that's done they go back down through the tiers and balance it across all the styles at all tiers. It's pointless if it's like, well, yeah, Necromancy sort of better until you get to the top end gear, and by then you can kill Raziel, you can get the Omni Guard and the Soul Lantern and stuff, so who needs the other weapons? What's the point in training the other skills? So it needs to be balanced across the board. But my biggest question about that is, if you're going to rebalance it, surely all styles need to go to 120, because Necromancy gets the critical hit boost at levels 100, 110 and 120. But then if that's the case, and they're all going to go, all the styles are going to go up to 120, then what about training at higher levels? Will the other styles get their own rituals? Because Necromancy from level 90 plus, the fastest way to train is rituals, and before Necromancy's release, the XP gained in combat was nerfed. So if there's not an equivalent of rituals for the other styles, then Necromancy will be the fastest skill to train up to 120, which will also put people off using the other styles. And there's the Archeron Mammoth in the Room, or whatever the hell they're called. Having the best method to train a combat style at high levels is rituals. It's just ludicrous. I can't get my head around that. But it's like, on my iron, I gave up training Necromancy at level 110. Luckily, I still had 120 Slayer to get, so I still did plenty of combat, but didn't get a lot of XP from it. And on my main, I just got to 100 and I quit. I just can't be bothered doing any more rituals. I do see an easy solution to this. After you reach 99, nerf the XP from rituals and increase the combat XP gained from PVM encounters. So in this you could include Slayer and boss encounters. So say you've got a Northern Dragonkin Slayer assignment, you go, actually I'm going to go and kill Kerapak. So you get a multiplier of the amount of combat XP you gain because you do a Slayer task. You get another multiplier because you kill a Kerapac, who is Dragonkin and a boss. And then you could go further. You could do hard mode, and you'd get a multiplier for Slayer, multiplier for the boss, and a multiplier for the fact it's hard mode. And you could also do this with enraged bosses, so the higher they're enraged, the more XP you could gain. Wouldn't this be a better way to gain end game combat XP, to actually reward people for taking on tougher challenges, actually playing the game across all the styles? I mean, let's face it, once you reach end game, you don't want to be standing around wand waving, doing silly incantations. You want to be wielding your wand and getting out there and killing stuff.